Saints on the inbounds. 4 seconds. Tied game. Moore will drive. Moore fall away from the baseline.
I got it.
Count it. The Saints win. The Saints win. 75-73. And this is the game winner. Little bump, spin, baseline at the buzzer. Nothing but net. See the way that red light went off.
What is up, basketball fans? And there was a buzzer beater. Wow, that's a lot of fun. I love buzzer beaters. I hope you do. We won't. The buzzer beater show is not just about showing all the buzzer beaters, even though I wish there were more of them to show. We haven't gotten them all. So if you guys have buzzer beaters, be sure to tweet them at us at CSN_NAIA on the X Twitter, or whatever we call it these days. And we're back. A couple weeks off. The sickness has been alive, and I'm just starting to get my voice back. So it's time to do a show, and we are really coming down the home stretch. What's up, James?
Hey.
And Zach?
What's good, man?
All right. Good to have you guys.
Our voices have been spared from the sickness, and we're ready to scream and yell a little bit after this week's action.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy week.
It has been a crazy week. And we're coming down to the short rows. I mean, about 5-6 games left, depending on what conference you're in, left of conference play. So just a couple of weeks from now, I think we're going to enter into the postseason conference play at least, and then really line ourselves up to have a blast. And I can't wait to do the shows for the national tournament. That's going to be a lot of fun. But we have a couple games. I mean, every game now is I hate even saying it like this. I go, every game now is important, as though they weren't important before. But we all know, all the basketballers out there know, all the games are important, and we reflect on them. And that's what we have been doing a lot of, trying to come up with our own top 25. Our top 25 is not a coach's poll. It's not a poll at all. It's based on data, and then, of course, how tough is your conference and how are you surviving, and then a good old optics test. And we kind of put all those things in a blender and then come out with the grand old question of who would beat who, and go down a list and try to find out who the winners are and who are likely to show up at the end of the year and surprise us. But we could go, no surprise. We saw them. We got the data on them. So James, walk us through what a couple games that were really important last night.
Well, I think the biggest one is this Oklahoma Wesleyan Southwestern. Here, let's put this on here. So this is our previous poll back from January 24th. Oklahoma Wesleyan 7-8, big KCAC battle. Southwestern has given Oklahoma Wesleyan the only loss of the season. Rematch last night at Southwestern. And if you look at that – oh, good.
Well, I'm just going to question as you go. So we have Southwestern under Oklahoma Wesleyan.
Correct.
And the record is just one game back. But Southwestern at this point of the rankings had beaten Oklahoma Wesleyan. But we put them at 8 because they kind of took a bad loss to McPherson. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, and the loss, and Zach, I'm pretty sure it's McPherson, but if you could verify that.
It was. It was definitely McPherson.
It was just I mean, and the game was pretty close. And Oklahoma Wesleyan in the first half of that first game against Southwestern, 1 for 12 from the three from beyond the arc. And you're just like, that's not going to happen again. And last night, I don't know, Zach, if you have those stats from last night, but
man, I wish we had the game replay of that.
Yeah,
the highlight of all the misses.
You look at the stats, and I think Oklahoma Wesleyan was 2 of 19 from 3 for the game.
Yeah,
2 of 19. A lot of misses. And you're like, how do they?
That game was excruciating. I watched the whole game. It was excruciating.
Excruciating. Yeah,
when you're
I have
sick,
more to talk about
you
that,
watch a lot of
but
basketball.
The first thing that jumps out at me is, how did they win this game? Like,
Right.
the numbers don't make sense. Look at that shooting line, a 38%, 10%, not even, let's be generous, John, 11% from three-point, and 14 of 21 from the free throw line. Does not look like a team. And I think they had 6 assists to 11 turnovers, like negative, double on the turnover ratio. And they win? So, yeah, I can see why it's a little excruciating.
Yeah,
and
it was.
In Southwestern, 40% from the free throw line. If you had just gave me those percentages and those you're going to tell me that Southwestern's beating Oklahoma Wesleyan? If I just off the percentages, you'd be like, no way. There's no way. Southwestern could shoot 40%.
That was almost a buzzer beater too. I mean, it came
close.
down right to the end. Southwestern had a shot to tie it up or actually win it because he took a three. The center, Kevin Clark, had fouled out on an insane foul call on the other end.
2 minutes to go in I think it was a 3-point game at that time. That's an eternity in basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like the 2-minute warning in football. Patrick Mahomes got all 3 timeouts and they're only down 3. Like there's so much time.
Right.
And this guy, the phantom foul call. Like if I'm a Southwestern,
it was a
Mount
lot of
Builders fan,
contact. I wouldn't say it was a phantom. I just think it was the wrong call.
The wrong side.
I mean, Clark was like falling down on his own, like not even like. I don't know how that's a foul, but anyway.
Yeah.
But that did impact the final few minutes, and Oklahoma Wesleyan did what they had to do to win, as they've done all year, because the math doesn't make sense on this team.
It doesn't. Like the CSPI in them is extraordinarily low.
They're getting love in the CSPI because of the winning, because they aren't losing. Which, hey, all you have to do in basketball is score one more point than the other team to win. That's it.
Yeah, but their unweighted numbers are just pretty abysmal.
And I think. What was it, Zach, we had looked at? I think it was like their 3-point, if you sort like by the 3-point shooting percentage, they're like one of the 6 worst teams in it's in 3-point or free throws.
Maybe both.
Free throws.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
you're
bad
like
3-point shooting.
Yeah, like look, they're 6th worst in the country in free throws, which I was thinking, well, if they can't hit threes, then they're going to be behind. And they're going to need to hit every free throw if you're not going to hit the threes.
Well, Coach Boswick
somehow they win.
Yeah, well, he's an effort guy, so he maximizes every bit of potential out of the talent and then some, and it just they keep hustling.
Winning record or whatever. Like
I think if I could point out anything good, they really did well on controlling the second chance points. They minimized that for Southwestern. So I know Litsky was injured. And he probably was playing in a great deal of pain from what I understand. So, it kind of got ugly. He wasn't as much of a factor as he usually is and all that. And they still go into hostile territory and get a win. I mean, that's what Donnie Boswick does. He kind of seizes the moment and coaches them through it, and their effort will ultimately show up at least in the season. That's the way it works out for them. And I don't know if that clinched, but all but clinched their title for the season in the Kansas.
I would think. I mean, they got 2 games now on Southwestern. I can't remember Southwestern's second loss, if that was a KCAC team. But at any rate, they're in the driver's seat anyway.
They're second, so that gives them 3 losses. Is that right?
They have 3, and Oklahoma Wesleyan only has the 1. So
this is
McPherson, Kansas. Kansas Wesleyan. That was a surprise.
Kansas Wesleyan. Yeah,
Kansas
that was a tight
Wesleyan.
one.
They're fighting to be 3rd in the conference. They could very well be in the tournament. So I mean, not horrible, but if you want to be top 5 in the country, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You look at KCAC, they just don't look nearly as strong, and you can't really imagine a national tournament without at least 3 teams from the KCAC. I mean, they get 2 auto bids, and then in that large possible. I mean, it's almost hard to think they wouldn't get 4, but the playing, I don't know that they deserve 4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma, okay, Kansas Wesleyan, and then Evangels third or fourth now. Oh wow, McPherson's fifth in conference.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Six losses.
Southwestern,
that's tough.
They've got 3 losses in that conference.
You got 3 teams that definitely strong enough to go. Probably going to show up in the tournament.
I think.
And I think
that's
2, about right.
At least 2 guaranteed.
They're going to get in at large. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
They'll get the 2.
Well, I guess they have enough for 2 auto bids. Yeah, so they'll have 2.
They got 2 autos, and
they'll probably get a third. Yeah.
Kansas Wesleyan will probably get in.
At any rate, 2 of 19 from beyond the arc and 6 assists, 11 turnovers, and you're winning.
Yeah.
Not what I expected. The stat line to look like for an Oklahoma Wesleyan win. I thought they'd shoot 38% from 3.
What other game was out there?
How about Cornerstone at Lourdes? Here, check this out. We had Lourdes moving up to 6 in our last ranking, and
that was a bad loss to Cornerstone. I know Cornerstone is peaking, so they're playing really well, and they shoot really well. It feels like when I watch that game that Cornerstone is very vulnerable, though. Defense is not fantastic. When they shoot well, they got a really good chance of beating you. But if they don't shoot well, and see, that's the total opposite of where Donnie Boswick and Oklahoma Wesleyan are at this point. Is they just don't shoot well. Period. At no point in this year have they shot well, and they still beat you. So that's a scary team when you go, okay, well, they're at least going to they hold all their teams to like 62.5 points per game. That's you're going to have your hands full with that defense. And Tarleton, man, that kid is special. That kid is really special defender. And then they do. Litsky's a good rim protector, and they have some good all around effort. They're not going to outspeed you. They do a really good job. So that's the antithesis of what I would say a Cornerstone on the rise. Because I was thinking, and I predicted that Cornerstone would win against Lourdes, and CSPI kind of showed some tendency there. So I'm not shocked by the Lourdes loss, although that's a tough one to lose if you're Lourdes, because you're making so much headway, and then coming down the stretch, you feel strong, and then you get beat really handily by a team that's not really great at defense. And of course you just didn't shoot well, and you didn't play great all around. So that kind of leaves that a chink in the armor, and other people will come after you because, okay, well, if Cornerstone can do it, then we can do it. So it might be a tough little home stretch for Lourdes coming down. I don't know that I want to give up on them altogether, but I do think they'll win the WAC.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they'll win out.
89-75.
I mean, they'll win enough to win the. Do we have their standings?
Cornerstone.
Where's WAC standings?
I mean, Cornerstone at 16-7 overall. I mean, that's still 7 losses will get you in the tournament if you.
So Madonna's the next one.
Right? Yeah.
A little too much separation coming down.
Probably on the outside looking in at the moment, but
I'm very high on Madonna. So I really like the way they play. I think they're potentially.
Well, I guess it's tied now. Lourdes and Madonna, 15-2. So, like you said, every game matters. Like, don't lose at this point.
Oh, it's I read the wrong column. Actually, there isn't a separation. So,
it depends on which sport you're looking at on Presto. Because sometimes conference is the first one. And they've moved it now.
Yeah.
So it's tied.
We took a lot of flag for Madonna, putting Madonna in top 25 way back a couple polls ago, a couple rankings
lost 4 all year. That's not bad in the NAIA this year.
Yeah.
4's good.
And I mean, WAC's not super strong, but they're not super weak either. And
absolutely.
I mean, you got teams like Lawrence Tech that can show up, and guess who they beat last night? They had a strong win last night.
Yeah. No, they're scary because they kind of go back forth. Like sometimes I go, Indiana Tech. Well, even Rochester.
I mean, I know Indiana Tech's not last year's Indiana Tech, but they're not terrible. And so Lawrence Tech, that a lot of the middle guys are dangerous. So Madonna's one of those teams I think that could be overlooked, and you go, I haven't studied them too much, and they could show up in. And I guess my next question, my talking point is who's going to be this year's OUAZ in the national tournament? Not really on the forefront of anybody's mind to show up in the Final Four, but yet they did, and they got some decent wins to get there. Could that be Madonna this year? Could Madonna be the 8 seed that
it makes the run?
Yeah, that or 7 seed, I guess it was. That kind of gets there, and you're not really paying attention to them. Next thing you know, they're Sweet 16 and then win one.
Let's say anyone watching, go ahead and drop in the comments in the live chat here who you think's the underdog of this year. Obviously, everyone's going to pick Grace, including John. But last time, we gave some love to Marion in our ranking back kind of in December, and Marion
I'm very high on
went
Marion.
on. I still am, guy. I know you're going to hate me. You on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it. You're going to hate it, but you know what? Marion plays good fundamental basketball. They're in a tough conference. Yep. It's what's going to happen. This is like SEC in football, right? Oh, well, it's tough to win when you got to play Georgia and Alabama every week.
All right, so that's the old ranking.
Here, he's going to put up
that's from
Marion's
the January
stats. Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Go to the game log.
Yeah, let's look.
Let's see what.
Let's look at Marion because I like their style. They play really great fundamental basketball, well coached. One of the
go back
telltale signs of if you're a well coached team is what are your players doing on the floor without the ball.
Yeah.
If you go watch Marion, man, they are busy. They are busy. They got I forget his name. Little kid that's point guard there, number 0.
I have it pulled up
go
for
to
you.
the Gus Etchison.
Gus Etchison. Oh man, he's a bombshell, bro.
Yeah.
That dude's a baller. I'm very impressed.
He's so quick.
Very impressed. I think if they could get the low post game really under control, and they got a couple good post players, that need to kind of step up and just play better. I think they got the talent, they got the potential. They just need to do it. They could be a very, very scary team who, is Marion on the bubble? I mean,
I think they deserve to be. At the very least, they deserve to be in the bubble. And
I think
watched a lot of games. And
actually, I think they deserve to be. They're one of the top 64 teams in America. But
there are not 64 teams better than them. Let me put it that way. I do not.
They're top half of that. But
they may end up being the good team that doesn't get in because some kind of an auto bid scenario, though, right? Like a team in another conference, and you're like, well, the at-large got to go to insert whoever Lords, right? And they could. It's going to be something like that to keep them out. Otherwise,
it's the best conference in America by far.
It took some losses, but anyway. They.
All right, so let's go to our ranking, our new ranking. That's
that's the old one. So here's the new one that I'm about to put out on Twitter and X.
Boom.
And no surprise at the top, Grace. We guys know how.
Oh no, I think people are
shocked,
spitting mad.
Yeah.
How dare you put a 3-loss Indiana Wesleyan team
but
at
Indiana
number 2.
Wesleyan deserves to be number 2.
Yeah.
They just do.
Yep.
Okay.
So they have 2 Grace losses.
Yep. Yeah, Zach, pull up Indiana Wesleyan.
2 Grace losses.
Let's show this to.
So you play the number 1 team, the undisputed number 1 team in America, and I'm gonna just go one step further. By heads and shoulders, the number 1 team in America. There's no other team like Grace.
Yep.
And you play them well. but you got to play them twice because they're in your
Yep.
conference.
Yeah,
So you take
put
2
this up.
losses.
Yeah.
Then you look at where did that other loss come from?
Which I think
If I'm not mistaken, it's the
it's
first
early, yeah.
game of the year.
They started the year 0-1. And
Yeah,
speaking of
Indiana
Tech, we were
So and
by
that's
2
a
though.
close one.
By 2.
That's some kind of challenge or something. So
That
it
was,
looks like it's
WAC
some
Crossroads League
tournament
challenge,
or
maybe?
something like that.
WAC
So,
CL.
Who knows? Who knows? The first game of the that's in October.
that
I don't
could
even know if games should count in October, but they do. So they took a loss there. So
Well,
that,
it's also not a
just-
cupcake to start the year, right?
First of all,
Like in
you got to throw that loss out. So they got 2 losses. The 2 real losses are to the head and shoulders number 1 team in America. Okay.
I mean,
If Langston has to play Grace twice, well, they're 20-3. If Cumberland's has to play Grace twice, they're I say 23,
4, I guess.
but 17-4. I mean, you just run down the gamut. Nobody beats Grace, so you're taking 2 losses there. So if you look at it from that perspective, maybe Langston has a little bit of argument, and I'm pretty high on Langston. They took a loss to Sagu, which is an interconference rival, and your all-star just had a bad game,
Yeah,
and
a little bit of an off night for them.
it won a year. I mean, I can't totally dispose.
Not
but-
when they've been so dominant the rest of their games. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
I can handle 1, especially in a year where again teams are here 3 losses in the top 10. One's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
We're
for
not
sure.
digging them too far.
So you kind of you run the numbers and just say, hey, Langston got to play Grace twice. No, Cumberland, none of these teams have to play Grace twice. Well, Indiana Wesleyan's right there. So to me, I mean, there's just I can't think of a debate that would help me overcome not put Grace at number 2.
We just had more people hop in watching now. So if you guys are watching, go ahead, hop in the live chat. Tell us why Indiana Wesleyan shouldn't be number 2.
Well, we're just releasing
I wanna
our
see.
top 25 for this week, and so
I believe we kept Cumberland still top 5.
yeah, Cumberland's a good
took a
team.
loss.
They took a tough loss. That was a bad loss for them. And Georgetown's a good team. Georgetown's a real good team. Let's see. Freed Hardeman's playing really good basketball. Really, really good basketball.
So we got 2 Crossroads and 2 Mid-South teams in the top
I get the
5.
question, why College of Idaho so low. I mean, coaches think highly of them. They're the reigning national champs, and I kind of did a deep dive on these guys,
Zach,
and
can you get the
really
schedule
they
for
brought
College of
a
Idaho?
lot of those guys back, and looks like maybe the same team. Why no College of Idaho?
This is college. Yeah, this is College of Idaho, right?
My personal reasoning
Yeah.
is they play in the Cascade.
That's it. You're just not buying the Cascade this year. It's soft conference.
I don't know ever, but
I mean, dude,
come
they
on.
beat. Hold on. Dude, they beat Walla Walla 101-41.
It's kind of like you get
68 points.
cupcakes your whole season.
500-point wins in 1 month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. That's.
I mean, come on.
wow.
Like this is not real.
Not the strongest.
But I will say that I
It's
put
not
them
their
as high as
fault.
I do is because that I know there's confidence growing, and they're the national champs, and there's something they did. I mean,
But they lost
I
to
looked
Southern
at their
Oregon,
road.
though. Southern Oregon, man.
They're not. I don't think Southern Oregon's terrible or anything. It's just the conference on a whole, day in to day out. They're not getting beat up. They're not. It's not like the Sooners. Not like the GPAC. It's not like Crossroads. Even Mid-South.
Well,
That where you just go and you get beat up every week, 2 times a week. You got to earn everything, and you can't let your guard down at all. Got to play great basketball, which is fun. I mean, that's the way you kind of want it. But when you don't have to do that, it just doesn't beat you up. And then when you come in and you get like a pool like College of Idaho had last year, which was, come on, 2 Red River teams. And it's like out of all the pools,
Zach, do you have
let's
the
be
bracket
honest,
handy?
you
I think
know,
we were
it's
looking at it earlier.
pretty
Yeah.
weak. So they had an easy
They had
run.
Westcliff, Xavier,
and
Shreveport.
arguably the toughest tournament of all time, to make a run like that, play that many games, short period of time. You know, they definitely had the easiest run at it. And then you had your OUAZ, who really pressed them
Which they
to as a 1
they
point.
won their quadrant, didn't they?
Who?
OUAZ, like they won the Kramer quadrant.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
why I say
that
that
side
the
of it.
question before was who's this year's OUAZ? Who you just didn't see that coming. No one saw OUAZ coming. I guarantee it, except OUAZ. And,
Yeah, right.
Not
They
the
heated
top
up
ranked
so much at the end of last
school in
season.
their conference. You know, they were good, but they just got on a run. They actually had a pretty decent path. I mean,
Yeah, they upset Oklahoma Wesleyan. Then their next round they play 11 Southeastern.
I mean,
to
was that an
advance.
upset?
And
I mean,
the closest
yeah,
game was the first
2-7.
round against Baker until they lost to College of Idaho. And I think that was kind of a close game too, wasn't it? I think that was like 73-72. Yeah, real close. So, like, they were in that tournament. Like, all credit to them.
They had a nice bracket available to do that, but they, nobody expected it. Who's that team this year? And so that's one of the questions that we have out there. Who's the OUAZ this year? We've kind of chimed in. If you're just joining us, we say maybe Marion, maybe Madonna.
Maybe Cornerstone. I don't know. Maybe.
No, not Cornerstone.
If Cornerstone,
not
if
this
they're knocking
tournament.
down shots, they're
No.
very tough.
Maybe in the season, but not in this tournament. There's no way.
I could see them making a run in their conference tournament.
They just have one bad night. That's all it would take. Like that, they just don't have the speed or defense to be able to endure, other conferences' top teams that are just that good.
Well, we'll
So,
see. I mean,
yeah. All right, so we've got some changes here on our top 25. Tennessee Southern really went up.
yeah, they did.
They're playing very well.
Lord's
They're
still in the top 10.
they're
after that
dominant.
loss.
Although Tennessee Southern, is it tonight they play Georgetown?
No, I think that's Freed Hardeman's playing Georgetown tonight. Let me see here.
Whoa,
He's looking
that's a
at-
game tonight.
No, that's not it. But yeah, that's gonna be a big matchup right there. Freed Hardeman, they need that win in the conference. They need it to stay in control.
Yeah. I struggle with keeping Southwestern at number 10 in the top 10.
I think
be
if
a
I had
top
my
20
way, there'd
team.
be like a gap there after 8. I'd probably just leave the rest of it blank at 9-10, and we'll just figure out the rest. Because, I don't think Lords or Southwestern's played like the top 10 teams we're used to seeing in the NAIA year in, year out.
I mean, MNAS is playing really great basketball right
hot
now.
right now. Here, let's see.
Let's see.
He's looking at it. Yeah, it's Freed Hardeman. That's at night at 7:30. I believe that's Eastern
Man,
time.
y'all got to
Man.
watch that.
That's going to be a great game. And Georgetown is,
Can't wait to see that.
they're at 14. They're the highest 5-loss team in this ranking, and deservedly so. Cumberlands and Freed Hardeman, it almost feels like a bit of a toss-up when they're playing. Obviously, played like last week or week before, and I think Georgetown would like to get a win, and I think they say that we should get in we should creep in the bottom of that top 10. I don't know that I disagree. But Point Park, we had them pretty high in the last ranking.
Yeah.
Top 5, I believe, and now they're 11.
Yeah.
Only 2 losses, but their loss, not it wasn't like they lost to a Grace.
Kokomo, right?
Yeah, Kokomo. And you're like, it's not a – but Kokomo – see, I don't know. All these IU teams, IU Kokomo, Southeast, they get wins sometimes. And you go, I don't know what they –
How?
what did they eat?
Or how
on the
did
way?
you lose to them?
Or I don't know. It's a bit of a puzzle, but you still have to respect winning. The game's about winning, right? You can't always affect who's in your conference, who you're playing.
Yeah,
They had a bad night.
I think I've watched Point Park a couple times.
Yeah.
They can be real good. They can be
This
real
is Point
good.
Park, right, Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They lost
but they also can
as an
just kind of
exhibition.
not show up. There's a game
To
between
Robert
Point
Morris.
Park and St. Mary of the Woods that's coming up. St. Mary of the Woods number 1 in that
Yeah, scroll
conference right
down.
now. I think They
got
lost
a
the
big
last
I
one.
guess Shawnee State, actually a pretty big game on Saturday.
Ooh.
Oh,
That
no.
is
Wait,
big.
did they already play St. Mary of the Woods?
Yeah.
That was back. Yeah, that was right after we released our rankings. They got that.
I thought they
7-point
played
win
them twice.
over-
Maybe they don't. They only play them once. That's
Maybe.
kind of a River State's is kind of a big, broad.
It is an interesting
A lot
conference.
of teams there.
Yeah. But yeah, the Kokomo lost though, like by 15. You go, how St. Mary? We thought that was going to be the bigger game, and then Kokomo.
Well, it took it's
Welcome.
a Saturday game after a big, huge Thursday night game against St. Mary of the Woods. And, they prepped and just put all their energy in St. Mary of the Woods because I think St. Mary of the Woods is really good. And they're very similar. Those two teams play very, very similar, Point Park and St. Mary of the Woods. Yeah. And then you put them all out there on a Thursday night. And then Saturdays, I've talked to numerous of coaches, and they say, Saturdays are really weird for our players because it's just you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get the absolute best, and then sometimes you get the worst. So it's interesting. I think that might have been what happened was because that wasn't just like a 1 or 2 point loss. Yeah. They got drilled, and I think you go, they put it all out there for St. Mary of the Woods to get that win, and that actually was a little bit closer than 77-70. When you were watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Kokomo comes along, who's not a bad team. They can surprise anybody. And boom, they hang an L on you. But
I don't know. That 3-point win against Ohio Christian also makes me a little suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's again, just overlooking looking over the nation. You like to see more than 3 against.
But then you see they really showed up against West Virginia Tech.
They did, yes.
And
go back, and West Virginia Tech, the premier
Rio
3-point shooting team in the country.
Yeah.
that was a surprise. West Virginia Tech 3-point juggernaut, and Point Park went and outshot them from beyond the arc. So that's a good. They bounced back. That's good, and 2 losses on the season, 22-2, a decent CSPI. I'm fine with them at 11.
A lot of people
right
hate on the River States, and I don't think the River States are that bad. I think they kind of like our GPAC. They beat up on each other quite a bit.
Ooh, GPAC doesn't want to hear that.
Well, they do. I mean, they beat up on each other.
Yeah.
They're very, very close.
GPAC is real.
From team to team,
exactly.
from school to school, they're incredibly close in basketball.
Yeah. Look at the GPAC, right? These are the stats. But we'll go to the standings in a second. But
give me the standings.
The GPAC standings are
GPAC.
Yeah, I mean 11-4, 11-4, 11-4, 11-4. Those are your top 4 teams.
See,
but 4 in
what
conference.
do you do, man?
Dort at 10-6
there was
kind
one
of in
time where
striking
Hastings
distance.
was like number 1.
Yeah. And Concordia, Nebraska, I don't even think they've gotten. I have to check. Maybe they've got votes in the NAIA poll, but like the NAIA poll, this is the last one. It's been a week and a half now since they've put anything out. But Morningside Northwestern at 12 and Morningside at 19. Morningside at 19. And now, if you look at the standings, Morningside's, I guess they're tied for first, but Concordia just went and beat them all. Like Northwestern, Morningside, and Hastings, or I think it was Dort, and just kind of said, we're in charge of the conference, which is why we put them at 18th in our ranking because they just beat them. They just did it. Like you can't say it's back in November, October, They went and steamrolled them. Like they beat them. So props to Concordia. We weren't really, even in the NAI poll, they're looking at Northwestern, the classics of the GPAC, the classics of the NAI.
In the GPAC, it's about who's going to peak at the end.
Yeah.
And,
it is. Yeah.
And Concordia seems to be the one. I do think, overall, maybe Morningside is the best team in that mix. They went out and had a pretty tough
Morningside schedule.
Yeah, they had a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule. They went down to the Sun.
This is Morningside. They played Kansas Collegiate. Oh, no. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah, because they played Kansas Wesleyan, Bethany, and they got a win against Concordia early. That's Concordia, Nebraska. And then scroll down. Maybe they play the Sun here in December.
They
yeah,
lost
that's
to
when
Jamestown twice. I got to zonk them for losing to Jamestown twice. Come on.
This is Morningside we're talking about, by the way, everyone. Florida Memorial, a 5-point loss. That's not terrible. They beat St. Thomas. Not
Yeah,
bad.
they beat St. Thomas. I mean, down there.
Beat St. Thomas by 5, lost it. And that Florida, that was an overtime
They beat
game.
Hastings.
Yeah, that was an overtime. So, and then they beat Hastings, and that's why I think a lot of us, I think that you go Dakota, what happened against Dakota, whatever, to get that big win against Northwestern, we were kind of starting to buy in the hype, and then right there, Jamestown lost a second time, Concordia, Nebraska by 11, and Concordia, and that's like in between Concordia beating Northwestern and Dordt, and you go, okay, yeah. And then, look, they go beat Dordt. So, I don't know what to make of this conference. I don't know. I really don't. But what I do know is Concordia's beaten everyone, so they're definitely deserving to be right now in a pretty competitive conference.
Yeah.
Top 20.
What do we got them at, 18?
18, yeah. Yeah. Bethel.
I mean, man, when I look at Bethel and Huntington, I go, man, those guys probably beat most everybody in front of them.
So this kind of goes into the argument, right, is how do you deal with Grace being undefeated, right? Because they've given Huntington, or Grace and Indiana Wesleyan really, right? They've given Bethel and Huntington a combined 6 losses across, or 7, 8, however, if they've played twice, right? Like what do you do? If Bethel has 3 losses, where are you putting them? If Bethel's playing out in KCAC, if Bethel's in the Golden State, they're not playing Grace twice. They're not playing Indiana Wesleyan twice. They're not playing Huntington, right? How do you rate these teams? I'm puzzled. And Bethel, I mean, I guess they did play Oregon Tech, which we do have them. That's a top team. They're top 15.
Yep.
And only by 2 points.
That's like November.
It's
hard for me
it's early, but at least it's a top team.
It's out in Oregon. I mean, 2-point loss.
Not bad.
I don't know.
They beat Shawnee State in River States. In a 4-point game, played close. That's good.
Yeah.
They beat Huntington, and then Indiana Wesleyan. Now that's close, even though it was a loss. And just nothing but wins. That Georgetown game, they beat Georgetown, right? And I know the Mid-South people on the Mid-South fans on Twitter, they think Georgetown is legit, and I mean Georgetown did beat Grace last year, right? I
think they're good.
So I do too. Beat them by 5.
Georgetown has a couple levels. Like they have this good, like they play you good. They're good. They're solid. They're fundamental. You're going to get really good basketball game every time Georgetown shows up. Then they have this kind of greatness level that they hit every now and then.
Yeah, they're playing like a top 3 team. And
they go, wow, man, they could beat anybody except Grace.
Well, we don't know yet. The tournament's coming.
So, I mean, that's going to be a huge game tonight. Freed Hardeman, Georgetown. You're not going to want to miss that.
Yeah.
And you want to see good basketball, just good basketball. I think go watch those 2 heavyweights kind of slug it out. Let's see.
I was going to say
that's a number. On our poll, it's number 5 versus 14.
Which top 15 matchup is the only one tonight you're going to get.
Yeah.
2 top 15 teams. Okay, let's take a quick look at Georgetown's because I want to get to the bottom of this top 25. Sneakily, that Baker win might prove to be big because Baker's kind of rising right now, and in the heart, I think they're second behind Mid-America Nazarene, so that looks good on the resume. The Shawnee State loss. This gets back to okay. You can't say the River States is terrible when Shawnee State goes and just beats Georgetown. I mean, sure, Shawnee State's at home, but if you're the premier conference with the premier team, you're supposed to be able to go clean up Shawney State.
Yeah, Shawnee State's not top of the conference either.
Or maybe exactly. Or River State's isn't as bad as people say. Which is kind of where I'm kind of landing.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Bethel, which Bethel's not bad. They're playing tough teams.
No, they're very good.
The Lindsey Wilson loss. I don't know. So confusing because like in January you lose to Lindsey Wilson. Wow. You lose to Cumberland's. Okay. You beat Freed Hardeman. Okay, who are you? Right? Like you're beating the I don't know. That's probably one of the reasons we Yeah, I don't know. That's confusing. And then, the second loss. That's what is so tough. And if they lose to Freed Hardeman, 6 losses, I don't know. They would take a tumble. But
well, I mean, there's something to say about conference play and conference rivalry and the hostility that comes with being at your opponent's gym.
Yeah.
There's all those little factors that unless you are really into that and ingrained into the culture there, you don't really understand. So we kind of stand outside a lot of times, even when we get to kind of see it on either replay or live. On stream, you don't get all the nuance. So you got to accept there are little nuances that can create anomalies in your win and loss record. It's the consistency at which those things happen. And I think for Georgetown, we're starting to go, your consistency is not quite there. We know you're really, really good, but are you going to be, what's the likelihood you're going to make a run in the tournament?
Yeah.
And kind of thing. And how much better are you than all these other teams?
Yeah. How
those kind of things.
Can't tell with Georgetown. I can't tell with Georgetown got 5 losses at 6 losses down at 24, who's now in the poll. Sagu, they beat Langston and beat them too. Like, that was not they beat them by over 10 points. And you're going, okay. And they also lost to a team like 8th in their conference. And you're going, okay, what is this team? And they beat Freed Hardeman. Sagu beat Freed Hardeman earlier in the year. So you beat two wins against teams in the top 5, but you also lose to teams in the bottom of your conference. Yeah, so this is Sagu's schedule, right?
Again, you go into those conference kind of
January. Well, you said let's not look at October, right? Let's look at January though. John Brown, that doesn't look good. Mid-America Christian, maybe, depends. Mid-America, they're kind of heating up, kind of like Baker. They're like this team in the middle that's slowly rising.
Very mid.
And
mid's correct in their name.
Yeah. Oh man, come on. But
actually,
Texas,
Josh Gamblin's a great coach over there, and he does some extraordinarily good things with players, like maximizing talent and
they
things
won
like
the whole
that.
thing.
And he's a good X's and O's guy too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, great coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why you kind of go.
So
that
I
may
can't
not
say
be
I'm
bad.
shocked.
That may not be bad, but it kind of depends. If MacU goes and wins out, then you go, okay, I guess they were real. But Texas Wesleyan, I mean, again, they've kind of like Mid-America Christian. They won a couple years ago, before COVID, but haven't quite experienced that same success post-COVID. And losing by 8 to them at the bottom of the conference, just not a great look. But if you scroll down, you get into February. Okay, we're just going to beat Langston. I guess that's what our team's going to be this month. So
conference rivalries, man.
They'll play John Brown and MacU again, and I think if they do get those wins, and you look at they're 16-6, they got the win against Langston. I think they are looking at a top 20, maybe even top 15, especially the coaches poll. The coaches poll likes them a lot more.
So look at the Huntington dilemma. 16-7
is okay.
Yeah. You go, okay, this is
Huntington.
where I go, okay, what conference
you say
are you
7
playing
loss. Yeah. But
right.
Okay, so
in since the new year, you've only taken losses to the top 2 teams, in our opinion, in
I think
the country.
It's December. Scroll up. I think since December. I don't think they've lost. Yeah. And they've, again, not terribly difficult competition there.
Well,
arguably their toughest game was St. Francis in their own conference in December.
Yeah.
But they got all the wins, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you got 7 losses, but 3 of those have come to the top 2 teams in America.
And they went overtime against number 2 team in Indiana Wesleyan. Like, that's close.
Yeah.
You got to give them credit. They got the win against Bethel. That's a tough game.
Yeah. I'd been saying.
We'll know by next Wednesday how good they are. That's for sure.
I've been saying for a little while is, who's going to beat Grace? Nobody's going to beat Grace. And of course, the naysayers be the naysayers. And
do we want to look at that right now? Because I know you got some.
Sure.
Hang on. I got to pull this up. Hang on. All right. So you got some heat on So yeah, will men's Grace go undefeated to win the national championship? So that means, 0 losses all the way. They're going to hold up the trophy in Kansas City. 75% of those who voted. We had 44 votes on X. Follow at CSN_NAIA. 75% losing at least one game somewhere along the way. Doesn't mean they don't win the champ. Just they're going to lose one. But that means 25%. John, they agreed with you, so you're in the minority here.
Yeah.
But you got some.
And
you got
other
some
people
comments.
have been pretty vocal about it. Like,
yeah. So
it's not going to happen.
so this is actually a Grace fan. Look, Lancers fan, Hoops fan 1 is the user.
I'm
He's
diehard
serious.
Grace basketball. I
Well,
would
I would
rather have them lose
one
sooner than later. But he's not saying they will. But I mean,
But
is
he would
saying they will?
rather.
Kind of.
I
don't
guess
know.
he
I
didn't
don't
say.
believe
I
in
guess
that.
he didn't say where he's voting, but he said he'd rather have them lose one sooner, get it out of the way, get the
Kind of
mental
fan
part out.
wants to say that though.
Because you just want the mental gone. Like it just we're not like if you're down. you're just
Nobody
kinda,
goes under. Yeah, I guess the idea is like nobody goes undefeated. If you, for instance, the great Patriots dynasty, the year that they went undefeated and lost the Super Bowl. You don't want to lose the last game.
Yeah.
Because everybody takes a loss. And I'm saying, well, this Grace basketball, I kind of get that, but this Grace team is different, bro.
They are. There is not an equal as far as roster in the NAIA. There's really not. And as good as Indiana Wesleyan's playing, they're going to have to play lights out.
So I get the almost knock on wood kind of concept here, but Lancers fan, Hoops fan 1.
Okay.
They're not going to lose, man.
Yeah. Real deal NAIA Hoops. Real_NAIA. Grace plays in the second best conference in the country. Yeah. First of all, you're not going to be able to say that on here. But anyway, they have a great chance to win.
Like second best.
We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to do that in a second.
Okay.
But they have a great chance to win. They're by far the favorite. There's not a snowball's chance in hell they go undefeated. Well, first of all, I like my chance of the Grace going undefeated for a snowball in a fire, but I digress. They will drop one at Indiana Wesleyan. Now, this was back. You notice the date there, January 29th. This was before. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Grace beat the doors off of Indiana Wesleyan in that game. Like, a much more severe win for them, or loss for Indiana Wesleyan than –
I don't know if everybody's ready for
99-71. 99-71. They were like, nah. You think it's going to be their game against Marion was closer.
James, I'll be honest with you. I don't even think we have a peaking Grace team yet. They're still
really?
They're still ceiling. They're still ceiling. Yeah. We don't even have a.
You think they're not
Grace
playing
team.
their best?
No.
I think they're just holding back. I think they are playing good. They just they're not. They just don't want to go put up 400 against Taylor, Indiana. I mean, you're telling me that's a 20-point game against Taylor? Come on. No.
But whatever. I mean, they're too deep. They're too long. They're just too difficult. And there's no NAIA level team that can have a appropriate matchup for a whole 40 minutes. And yes, we've seen them go down by 17 and a half, and you go, oh, there's a chink in the armor. They didn't try. And then the second half they tried, and they ended up winning by 12.
They have been down at halftime a couple times, including I think the first
a few
time
times actually.
Wesleyan,
I mean, that's not uncommon. That's why I say like they could clean up some things. So they will drop one at IWU this week. Wrong again.
That didn't happen. Or he said or in the conference tournament. He said or. So we got to wait for the conference tournament. We'll see. We'll bring the receipts back if they lose, but I don't know who's beating them. I mean, if Indiana Wesleyan's the second best team in that conference and they are beating them by 20 right now, and you said they haven't heated up yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not looking good. But speaking of best conferences.
Yeah.
So we had put this out, which was just our top 10 conferences by the CSPI. And so we got some Mid-South at 3. River States has a couple of nice teams, but the second best conference, someone educate these guys. John, respond.
Yeah. I mean, I get the point. I think it's a valid point. River State's that may have been like we did those off of numbers, and at the time we did it, River State's just had the numbers. Mid-South, I probably hang right there with the Mid-South. River State's, I think I moved down to 4. And
you're moving down to 4 right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do Crossroads, Mid-South.
Okay, so they have the same problem as GPAC.
In River States?
Yeah, they beat up on each other just quite a bit. Now there's 2 levels in River States because it's so stinking big, but there's this kind of top to mid that beat up on each other, and then this mid kind of that beat up on each other, and GPAC. So I moved GPAC down to 5. I may put. I mean, it's hard to say because you're really splitting hairs, but probably Sooner goes up quite a bit now. I do think
I'd put
there's
Sooner above
some,
the Sun, just in those 3.
Yeah,
3 teams.
I think Sun goes above Hart. Mid South, Great Plains, River States, and the Sun are just locked. I think it doesn't matter what order you put them in. They're essentially really good conferences that kind of beat up on each other. Sooner is too, but they have a top 4 to 5 tier that I think. And so this is the way I think. If you took top 3 teams and of each conference, and you had this great 60 game kind of season in a year, and your job, you had to go play each of the top 3 teams from each conference, who would fare better? And there wouldn't even be a close second. Crossroads number 1. I think doing that kind of calculation, Sooner wins out. Langston.
Okay.
If you put Langston, Sagu, and probably it's a coin toss between MACU and USAO.
Yeah.
So
probably, or maybe Wayland might like to have a word. I know they've gotten some love from the polls, but we got to see.
Yeah.
But I guess it goes back to how is the conference deep, or are they bad and they're just beating each other? Like, how do you grade that?
Wayland's a little bit of a mystery because they had a player get out, and now they got a new player in. New player's really good. So they're playing a lot better. I think we got to really watch the next 5 games. But right now, I guess MACU says they deserve the right to be the top 3. But in 3, you kind of got MACU, USAO, Wayland.
You see Wayland tied 11-5 in conference.
Yeah.
Sagu and Mid-America Christian 12-4. It's clearly a 1 and then everyone else. Yeah. But
so I'll just say, Langston, Sagu, and pick one of those. Yeah. I put them playing other conference top 3s. Mid-South being number 3.
Freed Hardeman, Georgetown, and Cumberland's.
Cumberland's. That's a tough stretch. They may deserve to be number 2. Like Sooner, Mid-South are really close.
Well, who are your 3 from Crossroads then? If we're gonna.
Seriously, that. I mean, they got 6. You put Grace and Indiana Wesleyan. You pick from the remaining 4. They're going to just run away with it. I mean, Huntington, Bethel.
It is weird to think how Huntington would fare in other conferences. Like, if they were in the KCAC.
Huntington, Bethel, and Marion. Put those in other conferences, and you're looking at a top 1 or 2 team in almost every other conference.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're just extremely loaded this year. There's not even there's no debate about what the best conference is.
Well, I know someone who
Then-
would like to debate.
I don't think he really would. After we educate him a little bit on, how it works. But you just put those top threes across the board and then see how that works out.
Yeah.
It's how do you position really the bottom 10 conferences? The bottom 10 conferences are just not that competitive. And,
it's
like,
so on that note, here's kind of I just made like
good.
a watch list to kind of look at the conferences, like how deep are they, who to watch for. So it's just a watch list. This is not predictions, no bracketology here. Just these are the teams you need to watch as we head into the final few weeks here, heading into the conference tournaments, the auto bids, etc. And
all right, so
you will see Frontier. There's only one team listed there. North Star. There is one team.
If we're relating this to national tournament, kind of who shows up and top 64 and all that, you got to first understand there's 36 auto bids. So there are six conferences that do not have 10 teams in their conference. So they only get one auto bid. There's 21 total conferences. So just do the math. You come up with 36 auto bids. Now you're left with how many at-large bids are available. Now, this, to me, you got to go to look at conference strength. And this is where the conference strength of schedule is really comes into play. And there's probably going to be a really good team in Crossroads that doesn't get in just because there's so many really good teams. And you can see there the list is really long for Crossroads.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a pretty sizable list for GPAC.
Yeah.
I think I think 3 is adequate for GPAC, maybe 4. Definitely not 5. There's no way 5 teams from GPAC should get in.
Oh, I think that's very possible.
Well,
I think it's very possible.
You're starting to open up a different can of worms, though. I'm just talking about the way
they're all
it should
tied
be.
right now, and we know they do get
No,
some
it doesn't
love
matter.
from the
It doesn't
committees.
matter. They're gonna play each other, and then someone's going to be a little more decisive. You're going to get 2 auto bids, and they, in my book, probably only deserve 1 at large. But they're real close to headquarters. So, did I say that out loud?
No, you did. You didn't say that out loud. You didn't say that out loud. Yeah, you did. I think GPAC gets 5 before KCAC gets 4.
KCAC should not get 4.
Well,
shouldn't happen. So
I've seen some predictions from others, and they're giving some love to KCAC, and I'm going, nah.
I could see those 4 from Sun getting in.
From the Sun of Florida Memorial, Kaiser. I can see it. If St. Thomas Kaiser, especially if like St. Thomas wins the conference tournament, they secure the auto bid. It makes it. It's going to make it very tough to leave.
I mean, WAC's a little
Maria.
Weird. You put a lot of teams there, but they're not.
Yeah, again, just a watch list. Just who we're watching. Again, who can get hot, who's heating
up. I think
up.
Madonna's going to be the sneaky
Cornerstone
one.
wasn't even on my watch list 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
they just
watch out for Madonna. Let's see, Lords is going to take 1, and then maybe they get 3. Let's see, Tennessee Southern. They get 1 auto bid.
That's one that Southern States, they get 1. I thought they're going to get 2. I think that's why.
Is there more? Is there 10 or more?
Let's see, Zach. Are you pulling up? Can you pull up Southern States standings, Zach?
I mean, Mobile got a lot of love early this year.
Check on this. Okay, so there's more than 10 in Southern States, so they'll get 2.
Okay, so they're going to get 2.
And you're going, okay, where is it coming from? Right now in the latest NAIA poll, they had Mobile there at number 20 but obviously they've taken on some losses since then. Mobile's now 18. Oh, they're 18-5 overall, and they
11-4.
They had 5 losses then, so they're probably not going to fall far in the actual code. Now obviously this coaches poll is simply for entertainment purposes. This is not affecting who gets in the national tournament, but nevertheless,
publicity purposes is what they say.
Nevertheless, but Mobile at 18-5, 11-4, which is weird. They're not even like Stillman has a better record in conference, 7 losses. They're not even getting talked about. I do like the. I think you have to think about all 3, especially with a conference tournament. If Stillman makes a run, they might put up 3.
Selection committee is going to say.
Like Mobile.
Selection committee is going to say they're depending on their RPI and strength of schedule, which I've looked at all those numbers.
Look, there's a reason the NCAA doesn't use RPI anymore. There's a reason. It's not because it's it's not good. No, it's not good. There's a lot of jankiness with that.
We'll
talk about that next episode.
I just you're not going to get the 64 best teams in the country. It's just not going to happen. But you want to get as close as possible. And if you don't have to put an at-large in, then by all means don't. This is not a tournament that is equalizing conferences and like how many people get in. If it is, they didn't put that in any of the propaganda on the NAIA website, and I think they should so that we can have a better understanding of what's going on. But auto bids, and then it just comes down to at larges and what at larges are you going to put in?
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas Wesleyan.
Speaking of,
yes,
there's an interesting case brewing right now in the Red River Conference. Texas College, a team that was in the absolute basement of their conference last year.
Yeah.
Look now, they're 3rd in conference, tied for 2nd. Or really, they're tied for 2nd. It's not 3rd.
It's kind of insane because they beat the top 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Zach, click on Texas College. I think if you look at their schedule, I'm trying to remember the teams they took some losses there in November, but like John said, early recency bias is going to win. They won every game in January, including LSU Alexandria. Look how much they beat LSU Shreveport by. They beat them by like 20. And scroll down. I think Xavier got rescheduled. That's right. And they're about to play LSU Shreveport again this Saturday. Must-watch game. But that Xavier game is going to be interesting because in that conference, there's a very good chance. Texas College, they're hot. Like they could win the tournament.
Are they one of the conferences that get 2 auto bids?
I believe they do. If you go back to the standings, there's more than 10 on there. So they're going to get 2. So, I mean, they may just go win it outright. They're only a game out of first place
arguable
LSUA.
That they shouldn't get 3 teams from the Red River.
Well, they're going to be gunning for, and when last year they got 2, and they had to. That was College of Idaho beat 2 of them. So, they were even in the same bracket. There's a crazy chance.
At large.
Crazy.
I don't think it's written in the rules. You got to have an at large. So,
no, not at all. But I'm just saying, keep an eye on Red River. Just keep an eye. The teams if they heat up right, if the right teams heat up.
I mean, amongst themselves, that's all fine and good. But overall, I'm not a believer. And
I mean, what if Texas College goes right now? They're 16-5. What if they win out the season? Get to and they don't win the tournament. Let's just say.
Well, if they win the
LSUA
season, I think they get an auto bid.
I think LSU they would still have the advantage. But at any rate, let's just say they lose a tiebreaker.
Okay,
LSU gets auto.
If you get 2 auto bids, one team cannot take 2 auto bids, right?
Right.
So it defaults to second place or whatever in the
first
tournament.
in the tournament, yeah, whatever.
If it were to work out, the season champ is conference tournament champ, then it goes to runner up. And you got to just earn your way. I mean, it's the Red River. You got to earn your way. So you got to get one of those 2 auto bids. If Texas College wants to get in, then they got to go earn it, just like anybody else.
They have a path, but they were again not on the radar until last couple of weeks, where they just went and just dominated. So yeah, I'm giving them some love. Giving them love.
I mean, they're doing good. Don't get me wrong. They're
Yeah.
from, they were bottom dwellers, and they have really, hit a stride this season and done some good things in the Red River. This becomes a Red River question. Do you let 3 teams in from the Red River, or just give them the 2 auto bids?
I think they'll get 2, but I will not be surprised.
Well, they have to get 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll get 2, but I will not be surprised if they sneak an auto bid through.
I don't know. There's
We'll
some teams that just are, some conferences that just can't get auto bids. It's just the way it is. I mean,
it's not Frontier or North Star this year. We can kind of look at some of these and go, definitely not. But I agree.
Your Frontier, your rabid Frontier fans are going to be mad at you, James.
Yeah.
I hope you know that.
Oh yes,
They all
they
deserve
love
to
me.
be in.
Yeah. No, Frontier is. Whew. And we showed some love to Carroll Montana Western to open this thing up with a great buzzer beater. We have no hard feelings against the Frontier.
Yeah.
But I do not see a 13-9 Carroll getting in, even with their pedigree, even with in multiple sports in the NAIA.
I mean,
I don't.
If they
see
win
how
the
they're
conference
gonna
tournament,
is Frontier conference tournament
and
gets
then
gets the auto?
Think
Because if
about
that
this.
happens, then yes, I guess
They get one auto bid. So, yeah, if it's a conference tournament win, gets you in. Each
that
conference
feels-
is a little different, so you got to go read the rules. And
Look,
we probably need to just
we
brush
do,
up
but
on that.
Look,
But everybody's going to want Montana Tech in. So imagine if Carroll wins the auto bid, then, man, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Montana Tech, which I think they're pretty good. They're okay. I think they're definitely worthy of being in one of the top 64 teams.
yes.
But
right now, they're a 6-team, which I understand. The geography's tough for them there, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to play.
Yeah.
But still,
just part of being in the
6
Frontier.
teams, only 2 have a winning record total.
Yeah.
And Montana Tech doesn't really have a
they should only
signature
get one
win. For the good of the tournament.
Just for good math, I'm going to just say
Yeah.
this out loud because it's so everybody can understand.
Yeah.
There's 21 conferences in the NAIA basketball league, right? So if every conference sent 3 teams, you have 63. You have 63 teams. There's only 64 can get in. So just imagine that. Like this is there's some conferences that just can only get 1 in. Maybe 2. It's just the way it is because there's other conferences like the Crossroads, like the
Mid-South.
Sooner,
Well,
Mid-South. Well, yeah, Mid-South.
7.
They're kind of small.
Yeah.
Sun, that'll get 4. I mean, there's just some that are going to get more than
Sooner.
3. Right?
Sooner usually gets 4.
They should. Yeah, they're always historically one of the tougher conferences. So.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some argument that 5 could get in from Crossroads.
Yeah.
You're talking about trying to get
I
the
will
top
argue.
teams
I will
in.
argue for 5, but I can see, and they have let 5 in before, even from the Sooner, which surprised me. But now that we're all one division, I think that was pre the division merge.
But this all that
no,
means is there's some conferences that are going to only be able to put 1 in, and that's the auto bid. It's the way it works. So there will be some hurt feelings, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else out there that
live chat
we need to really address?
No, I think that's it. We did have this when we posted the last. This was back in late January.
Okay.
We had posted. We had moved College of Idaho to the top 10.
Yeah.
We brought in Madonna, Georgetown, Northwestern, and even LSU Shreveport at the bottom.
Yeah.
So we got some live look at how they selected the top 25. And it's not playing,
That's
but
funny.
it's spinning the bingo or ping pong ball. And I was like, all right, whatever. I don't mind that.
No, that's funny.
We're on some
like it.
Point Park at 3. They did not like that, John. I know you defended keeping Point Park at the top 5 with only 1 loss, and boy, you got some hate here.
Yeah,
and St.
well,
Mary Woods, which you said this episode, they're still good. They're still one of your teams.
they're number one in River State. So.
Yeah. Whatever formula, the CSPI.
Deal with it however you may.
The CSPI is flawed. Is that what we're saying? Yeah. Graceland shouldn't be in. Got blown out by Mid-American Naz at home and lost to a bad Clark team.
Mid-America Naz is really good.
Yeah. And Graceland did drop out, so
Yep.
I would say Nate is kind of on point here.
Yeah.
And I think Graceland, talk about a team that could sneak in the tournament. They could make a run. So we're not discrediting, but yeah,
I just
right
don't
now.
know. They're so up and down. They're not one of those teams. They're not the OUAZ type of team.
Oh, so that you're leaving them out of that contention for the deep, sneaky postseason run.
Yeah, they're not going to be sneaky. I mean, they did what they needed to do early on to kind of get a little buzz about them, but they didn't do well with it after. So it's like, how consistent can you be? And I agree with Nate. They shouldn't be in. And at the time, the numbers were working out for them, so we gave them a little love, and they were they were actually kind of hot at that time.
They were moving well.
Then MNAS played terrible in the beginning, and then really have ramped up lately. So can MNAS be?
They're up to 15. They're top 15. They weren't even in the last one.
Yeah. So their CSPI is really rising, and it's a little tricky because CSPI represents the whole body of work, and I think at this point you're kind of looking for peaking at the right time. So that's an optics test, and analytics as well. It's like you could see the numbers. Here's what we've done in the January, February, which is the most important part of the body of work. And
MNAS hasn't lost this calendar year yet.
No,
it's all W's straight down.
Yeah. So there are little things that happen, and as a news reporting or a news gathering kind of organization like we are, we need to be, especially on the NAIA side, we need to be a little bit more diligent about trying to find out. Not all coaches talk to us the same. So, and nothing against that. The coaches are busy, so I try not to hound them. But there's a reason why MNAS is peaking now as being kind of bad in front of that. November, December. Were they that bad, or did they just need that much work and it's finally gelling? There's always a reason. So I'd like to be able to find out why, so that we can know, because a lot of times if there's a new player, like watch out for Wayland Baptist. They got a new player added, and he's good, and you have to put that into the calculation and kind of go, those losses are a little distorted. What are they doing right now?
Yeah. It's one of the toughest things about
Sagu is a perfect example.
Yeah.
They added, excuse me.
Yeah.
They added Cortland Blake, who I say is arguably one of the top 5 players in the nation.
Wow. High praise, because there's some good players.
There's some really good players out there, but
if we're going to say
Cortland Blake.
The whole
Cortland Blake is the real deal. He's the real package deal.
Okay.
He inside out. He can play both, and it's a big part of why Sagu was able to beat number 2 Langston the other week.
Yeah.
And
you better have your top players playing really well to be Langston. Like you got to have everyone like having a good night, not just
Langston's
really
good.
A great night. Really, they got to have a great night, because Langston can beat you in so many ways.
Yeah,
and they had one guy not playing well, Roy, but even so, you better be on your best. Okay, this comment on our Jamestown still too high, even though they aren't even on this. I want to know what Tom Whitaker's got against Jamestown. What did Jamestown do to deserve this, man? Got to be
Tom Whitaker, my man.
Didn't Jamestown beat
funny.
one of the GPAC teams? Didn't that?
Not
I
one.
feel like they just
they beat Morningside twice.
It was Morningside. Okay,
and,
I bet Tom's a Morningside
I want
fan.
so bad to like Morningside, and then they do that to me.
Yeah.
I thought they fared well down in Florida when they went down there. They did really good. They've got a couple wins. They just got some abysmal losses, and
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to hate on the Jimmies. They've had a really tough season. A lot going on in that program. So, Morningside's good. It's just they're just below that being good enough to go on a long.
Does Morningside, Zach?
Streak.
No, this is Jamestown.
Jamestown. So
Pull up Morningside.
yeah, they do. No. I want to see. They're 12-11, so they're very 500. Yeah. Boom.
They're super mid.
They have a win against Mayville.
Actually,
State,
I think they've done a good job at being mid. Their program is gone through some turmoil, and those guys have fought hard, and I think hats off to them to do what they have done this year.
Yeah. They have 2 wins against Mayville State.
Yeah,
I missed that. That was before January, but still,
no, we
two.
we knew Mayville State's numbers were padded. You got 2 100-point wins. Not that you hit 100 point. You beat a team by 100 points.
100.
Yeah.
Jeez.
2. I think it's Canadian
That's
teams.
that's questionable.
Yeah.
That's questionable.
Yeah, you should not include those in your stats.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Man.
That's why
That's
they got early love because
Yeah,
it just when you looked at the numbers and you didn't do any deep dive, you would see, Mayville State's just going bananas. Well, yeah, and they don't have many teams to play up there, so I can't.
No, they don't.
It's
tough.
Right.
It is tough.
Yeah, so they just.
But
They got
where
more
are they?
cupcakes than everybody else. Put it
I
that way.
think they're 19 on the CSPI.
Yeah,
right
and that's
now.
with padded
But
numbers.
There's
There's no way to take that out.
Yeah, their point differential's pretty high. Still at 20.
Yeah.
21.
But
and they lost
even
6.
even when
So-
they were undefeated, you and I talked, and I said, "Yep." When we found out what the issue was there, we were like, "Yeah, this team is going to be. They're not going to survive. 2-3 loss season.
Yeah.
They're just going to have a bunch of losses."
And
And there they
lost.
go. They got 6 now.
And the CSPI Oklahoma Wesleyan moving up because they're just not losing.
Yeah.
I think they could do a lot more to win, but they're doing just enough to win.
Yeah.
They're like that kid that knows the least amount to get the C to pass the class. That's what Oklahoma Wesleyan is doing, and they're passing.
They're definitely the team that Vegas hates to bring to the line table and make bets for, because you just don't know. I mean, like in their conference, you do know because the conference is not super strong. But like if you start saying, "Hey, Oklahoma Wesleyan, you got to go play in the Crossroads," you're gonna take a lot of L's. There's gonna be a lot of L's going on.
I think Huntington gives them a real strong game.
No, yeah.
That's going to be Well, we'll find out what happens in March because they'll. I mean, right now I'd say if Oklahoma Wesleyan, even if they lose in the conference tournament, they'll probably win out this season. They'll probably be a top 3 seed. I don't see them going any lower to the 4s, and they're probably going to be a 2 again. Oklahoma Wesleyan, they'll probably be a 2 again in the tournament. The last
they're gonna be a
NAIA
number
poll,
1 seed.
the last NAIA, you think they'll be 1?
I can't imagine they won't
I
be.
guess they're already top 4 is 4 quadrants. They're already a number 1. They just beat a top 10 team in Southwestern.
Yeah.
Who's in the coaches polls probably not going to put Indiana above them. Indiana Wesleyan.
RPI strength of schedule. There's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
There's not going to be enough evidence to knock them down. Put it that way.
It's not going to be Lords. They've dropped. It would have to be a Freed Hardeman or a Cumberland's making a real serious run, and then it'll be Grace, Langston College of Idaho, Cumberland's maybe something like that.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
I mean, we know Indiana Wesleyan needs to be a 1 seed, and they.
But even if they lose, at worst there would be a top 3 seed, like 1, 2, 3. Oklahoma Wesleyan. If they lose 1 game, they'll still be.
Yeah, but they're not going to. Is my point.
Yeah.
They're also not going to lose out. I mean, potentially
they could lose
in
a
the conference
Southwestern
tournament.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
They'd lose 1.
Maybe.
That's it, though. They really have 1 game left that is a legitimate threat to their ending the season on a clean run. So they're an interesting team. They're very interesting.
Donnie
but-
Boss will not let his team sink, like that. They're not going to get surprised.
He will will them.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
He will will them from the sideline. So credit to them.
Yep.
They're getting wins. What can you say? It's a game about winning, and all they do is
They get
just
wins.
win. So you know
Except in the national tournament.
Oh,
I'm not trying to blast them. It's just they're
Oh,
the facts.
goodness.
They don't have a lot of deep runs.
Who was last year? Who upset them?
Round 2.
Zach, do you still have that? What was it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Was it Ottawa? It
OUAZ,
was Ottawa.
yeah.
Yeah, Ottawa played Concordia, Nebraska, who we have moved up in the GPAC, a 15 seed. That was a 2-point game. And Concordia is better this year. I think they'll be higher than 15 in the tournament if they continue their trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny if that repeated.
That would be
Surely they wouldn't do that, right?
Nah,
Surely the committee's
Concordio's
like
too
let's move them around a little, even if
Yeah,
you
they're
don't want to play the
much
same
better
team
at
back to
15.
back years. But yeah, but so it was Ottawa who, to their credit, they were red hot. I mean, red hot.
You're talking about peaking at the right time.
right.
It's a good run.
Yeah.
I mean,
I bet they wish they could still be playing in 2023. Like they had, and the loss to College of Idaho was a 1 point, maybe
Man.
that might have been overtime too. Like I think that was like crazy close. So it's gonna be fun this year's bracketology. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
really looking forward to it. I've seen a couple of them. We'll probably talk about on next episode. Some way too early predictions, really, because the conference tournaments really shake it up with the auto bids and all that. But
any other news going on?
big obviously Fried Hardeman,
Georgetown tonight.
Georgetown, that's coming up. But there's a very big game. I might slip under the radar. In the WAC is the Lord's Madonna game, which we have at 9 and 16.
Yeah.
That's on Saturday, I believe. I don't know, Zach. Let's see, where are we on you got the schedule there? But yeah, Lord's Madonna. I think that's going to be a
Blood
huge
in the
game.
water, man. Here come the sharks, and Madonna's one of those sharks.
Just sitting there. Kind of a rough stretch here between Lords. They just lost to Cornerstone.
That's
Lawrence-
at Madonna.
At Madonna, at Lawrence Tech, at Indiana Tech.
Oh, my.
That's a tough 3-game stretch. So we're going to find out if Lords belongs in the top 10, if Lords is going to belong as far as getting the auto bid, because it's kind of a tight conference there in the WAC.
Yeah.
And so but I think it all starts right here. Do they respond from the Cornerstone game? Do they pull together and say, hey, we are who we are. We got 2 losses. We have played well all year. Let's get back on track. We know who we are. Or is Madonna, are they going to be that hot team to come in and start saying, hey, you've been ignoring us. I think they got 4 losses. Yeah, 19 and 4. Decent CSPI. I think Madonna makes this close, but Lords somehow hangs on. I want the upset personally. I want to see Madonna beat him. But, that's the fan in me. But I just don't know that's I just don't know that's going to happen.
Well,
But
they just got the brakes beat off last night and by Cornerstone, and you go, okay, are they who we thought they were, or are they still really good? They just have a bad night. Because I also believe that teams can just have an off night and not be who they really are. So it happens. Especially teams that are senior heavy. You got 4 seniors and a junior. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what Lords is. I'm just saying this happens to teams that, and then they don't have a very deep bench. Tournaments are a little scary for those kind of teams. Just another reason I'll go into my Grace rant. Why they're not going to lose is you got out of their top 5 players, none of them average over 23, 24 minutes a game, which is insane. I mean, to be able to have, barely half of the game played by your best players, and then you have arguably another 5 or 6 that come in and play impact, not just impact minutes, but almost another half of the game, and they have to be impactful. Well, that just, that's the evidence that this team is so much different than every other team there is, and gets grace, and then who's playing for second this year.
Yeah, it really does feel that way. Yeah. So a couple other games on Saturday. Hastings at Morningside.
That's going to be a fun game.
We're at the.
That's a great classic GPAC matchup.
Yeah, we're at this kind of funny spot. Zach, can you pull up the scoreboard for Saturday? Because Saturday doesn't have they don't have that Freed Hardeman Georgetown game, but Saturday has a lot of these mid-level teams that are kind of fighting for a higher spot, where you go, okay, are they going to take that step? So scroll down just a little bit here. It's not going to be far. So Indiana Wesleyan and St. Francis. St. Francis is 6th right now. Be careful, Indiana. Just be careful. Don't overlook them. IU Kokomo St. Mary Woods. Again, kind of up, not the top, right? Not point, or I guess St. Mary Woods is the top, I guess now. But
number
keep
one
an
in
eye.
River States.
Lord's Madonna. That's probably maybe the highest profile matchup. But Bethel Mount Vernon Nazarene. I know Mount Vernon Nazarene's taken some L's this year.
But they have also beat some good teams.
Exactly. They're close. And then you got Goshen and Grace. The team that hasn't won.
Watch out,
and the team
Grace.
that hasn't lost.
Watch out, Trap Gang.
Yeah, Trap. Get out of here. If that happens, we're gonna have to play that clip of you.
I quit.
Yeah, you're gonna retire.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit.
Never hear from me again.
Yeah, I don't think Twitter or real NAIA is ever gonna let you live that down. There's a lot of just games. St. Thomas Warner. I mean, maybe keep an eye on it, but it's more of if there's a loss, it's more meaningful. There's a game. I think we have to get to we're in the 4:00 block right now. I think it's down to 5:30, which is I keep going down. Oh, yeah, there's Hastings Morningside. Oh, there it is, yeah. USAO Wayland. Again, teams that are tied for second, and you're like, is Wayland for real? Is Science and Arts for real?
Actually, I think tonight Wayland plays Texas Wesleyan, which Texas Wesleyan has a ton of talent, and they've been playing much, much better. They handed Sagu a loss not too long ago. So, I mean, this is where Wayland, if you want to get mentioned in the conversation, and if you get on the bubble, this is one that you got to win. And Science and Arts, I know they're rated a little bit higher in the conference. At least I believe they are. This is one, you go get a Texas Wesleyan win, and you get a Science and Arts win. Now people are talking. They're like, okay, Wayland is who we thought they were at the beginning of the season.
So, so scroll up a little bit, Zach, right here. This Mount Marty Northwestern game. Mount Marty has 6 wins on the year. One of them is against Northwestern.
Really?
So I know. So that's what I'm saying. You have these interesting, bizarre matchups on Saturday where you're like, that's a revenge game now. And then scroll down. There's one more on Saturday. It's that Red River matchup we talked about earlier. It's LSU Shreveport, Texas College. I have no idea who's going to win that game. The way it's trending should be Texas College, and a team that, again, last year, absolute bottom of the Red River. But if they beat LSU Shreveport twice, a Shreveport team that has been ranked in the NAIA, in fact, it might have been in the last one. Yeah, LSU Shreveport's 15th in the last NAIA coaches poll. If you can go beat that team twice, the coaches have no choice but to either say, well, all of you are bad, or don't be surprised if at the 25 spot, we know Mid-American Nazarene's going to move up. If at the 25 spot, you're going to see Texas College.
No.
It could happen. It could happen.
It could not. Could not happen.
Well, I think we'll see them get votes. I think they are getting votes right now. But
that's a no-go.
Okay.
Hey, scroll down. Let's see who's playing out west.
Graceland at Central Methodist.
Okay, yeah. Great. Okay.
Central Methodist, we had them ranked, I think, even maybe in our last
Graceland's been slumping a little bit, but, that could be an important win for their future.
It's one of those games you don't really look at until the end of the season, and they lose, and you go, oh, that was a bad loss. It feels like it's that way for both of those teams. Like if one of those teams wins and kind of wins a tournament, you go, yeah, they were real.
Mm-hmm.
But right here is anyway. It's a very interesting.
Scroll down and let me see.
Ottawa and Masters, exactly. teams tied in the Golden State. Vanguard, Jessup, Hope, and Menlo. All those teams are kind of tied in that conference.
Yeah.
Don't lose, but also they've already lost or beaten each other earlier in the season. So Montana Western Carroll's going to rematch after that buzzer beater, right? But
fun.
Yeah. Antelope Valley, UC Merced, actually they're fighting for spots now in their conference. So Langston, Southwestern Christian. That's another Goshen Grace matchup practically.
Yeah.
So at least Southwestern, they're in the win column now. It's an interesting Saturday. If there won't be I don't think there are going to be major upsets, but there's going to be season-defining wins for teams that are going to want to pad that resume for the tournament.
St. Cat's is playing Park Gilbert. Yeah.
Which we were high on St. Cat's, and they did not impress us in 2024.
No, they have just gone downhill, and Antelope Valley.
But I think Antelope Valley still gets in with the auto bid, and
it's whoever fights for that auto bid. Yeah.
Where did I have them on there? Yeah, they're top middle in the CalPAC. Yeah, in St. Cat's, I want to say CalPAC has enough teams to get the auto. I'll check, but
you mean the second auto?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yes, the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they got 11. And Simpson, it helps the Simpson. They just joined the conference.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, they'll get 2. So, again, the Antelope UC Merced. Does it affect, say, the coach's top 25? Probably not. But that's going to affect something as far as who gets the higher tournament seed can make a difference. So, interesting. It's an interesting collection of games this Saturday. And you still have John, Texas College. They're going to sneak in. You wait and see. They're going to sneak in.
I mean, they're not going to sneak in. They're either going to get auto bid.
They win, and they win on Saturday. They're going to sneak into 25 in the next Coaches Bowl.
Nah,
they're going.
That's not going to happen. There's not enough respect for the Red River out there. I remember those Coaches Bowls they're looking at ARC now, and they're all that stuff. So there's just not going to be enough evidence for them. I mean, I'm hoping the best for Texas College.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm trying to hate on them. I'm just saying the writing's on the wall. It's not going to happen.
Wow.
Red River's kind of blemished right now, and taking too many bad losses across the board, out of conference. Any other news?
That's all I had. I want to know if you had a prediction on that Freed Hardeman Georgetown game. You got a
Freed Hardeman
all the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's
ranked 9 spots
slightly
higher,
better than a coin flip for Freed Hardeman, but we know that that can go either way. I mean, it's hard. I couldn't say by 5 or 8 or whatever. I'm just saying Freed Hardeman by 1.
By 1? Oh, wow.
That I'm just generically saying, like, that's how much of a coin flip I think it is.
Wow.
So, yeah. Just a couple hours away from that one.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, man. I'm going to put that one on the big screen. Yeah.
We're going to watch that. All right. That was all the news I had. Zach, you got any news? Anything we didn't
Anybody
missed?
The guy from Kaiser, he's playing.
Oh, yeah. You've been talking about him.
Yeah, I'm a real big fan of I don't know his last name, but his first name is Vincent.
Well, you know what it is. You just can't say it.
Yeah, there we go.
And I'm not. I'd be the fool, more of the fool for trying too.
Yeah.
So.
But those are
Vinny, Big Vinny, 33.
Top,
man.
He averaging 58 at the field goal, 17 points, and second best rebounder out of the whole nation.
Wow.
In rebounds per game?
Rebounds per game, yeah.
That's
shooting
work.
38% from 3 with 16 rebounds. That's tough.
How can you not be a fan of this? I'm just saying.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good get right there.
Wait, he's 17. Yeah, he's averaging double, but
17, 16. Yeah. That's
and
pretty
shooting
insane,
40
man.
or 30, 37,
And they're
38.
winning now. They're
winning.
they're doing some winning.
They're not the top in their conference. but
No, but we talked
Series.
about Kaiser could be the fourth from the Sun
Yeah.
to show up, and they're doing some winning now.
Except that lost to
Evidently this
Weber
guy's-
on the third. Man, 1 point. Still close. But
So is there anybody legitimately
man.
going to knock Elijah Malone out of
Oh no,
Player of the Year?
I don't think so.
I-
He's too dominant. Unless
What's
Vincent can-
Malone's like
I mean, you
numbers?
can't
What's
just
he-
go by his numbers. There's no way you
Well,
can
I
just go
know
by
I
his
know you
numbers.
can't, but I just want to see in
Okay.
comparison to Vince here.
I'll look
His
it
per
up.
40
how,
is crazy.
Yeah, no, he's the most. He does the most in a game that will never show up on a stat line. Like there's no doubt about that. The way teams play Grace, the way they avoid him, the way that he's a threat to just pull up from three, and he's also so strong. Like he's controlled, right?
Yeah.
He's not just man. It's hard to quantify
Yeah.
that in a stat, but I don't have his his double off the top of my head.
Well, so when you go to leaders and like point leaders and things like that,
Yeah.
you know, he can't compete because per
He
game
didn't play enough.
he's just not getting enough
Not at all.
reps. But he
Or
does
minutes.
that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
it's just the efficiency for every minute
Yeah.
that he plays is incredible. I don't know if there's another dominant player out there that good. I know there's a lot of great players out there, but
He's efficient at everything. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to beat it.
you
Like
know,
that
just
Vince-
game in,
Yeah,
game
he's
out.
17-8, but I guarantee you that but now Elijah's averaging 24 minutes a game. Ooh,
Yeah,
it's
there
gone
you
up.
Mm.
Yeah, like 24 is not much to get 8 rebounds, even for
4
a guy
minutes
like him.
over
Well,
half.
because he kind of plays the perimeter too, right? Like he's not not always just post up and
Yeah,
you
he's
know.
playing 60% of the game.
Yeah.
So,
With the undefeated
with,
record behind
with
him.
those kind of numbers, it's pretty. Yeah,
Yeah.
and being undefeated,
Right.
he's drawing double teams, triple
And
teams,
probably getting pulled out of games early.
Shooting threes
Wasn't
at
there.
6'9".
I don't know how you, but he's like
He's like a hefty 6'9".
I was
though.
telling John, he's kind of like he reminds me of Blake Griffin a little bit. Like he's not like
Yeah.
more so than like a Kevin Durant, right?
Right.
Like he's strong.
Right.
You're not moving him. Like
Yeah,
when
he jumps incredibly fast.
yeah, agile.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. But yeah, statistically though, Vince and M at Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17,
he's
16
doing work,
that's-
bro.
17, 16.
That's
You're-
doing work.
and
This
he's
kid
almost
right here
he's pushing
that we were talking
yeah.
about from Marion.
Gus. It just
Oh
It's
man,
not the
Gus.
Dude.
He's
Bro,
He's so
he's
fun
a
to watch,
baller. He's
though.
one of my fun. He's just funnest player to watch.
yeah.
Definitely in my top 3 funnest player to watch.
yeah, he's really
Um,
good.
Wow, he's
He's
22
shifty.
points a game.
Right.
Okay, hey.
Bro,
45. from
I'm
the field
just he's a
goal.
baller,
That's
man.
not bad.
Total baller.
39
Wow,
from three-point.
39. I didn't realize it was that high. Yeah, okay.
Can't
But
beat
he's
that.
also a guy, John. He does a lot that doesn't show up on the stat sheet because he's shifty. He makes you uncomfortable. He
Yeah,
makes you
man.
make bad decisions that you wouldn't normally make, and that's hard to put on the
Yeah.
stat sheet.
Mhm.
But the best thing, I guess, is those points. But man,
Yeah.
when your point guard's doing 22 a game,
Yeah.
It helps.
yeah. As a
Ankle-
coach, that
Ankle
helps you
and
sleep
knee
a little bit.
surgeons love this guy.
Yeah.
Bro,
Dude.
he puts people on skates. It's
does,
funny.
man.
Yeah.
Oh
He knows
man.
how to use the screens.
Yeah.
He can dribble the ball.
And
Yeah.
then and then just gets crazy. He like off balance shot that in midair he
Mhm.
kind of regathers himself and gets squared up. It's he's crazy good. I'm
Yeah.
a fan.
I am
Yeah.
too. After watching the
He plays
game.
well in that system.
Yeah. It's a great, well coached system.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great players there too. I mean, I know we're highlighting him because it's fun to watch, but
Yeah.
they're
Zach
they're
said he
really
got
good. I
handles,
think they're
too.
growing. I
Yeah.
think their ceiling's pretty high.
Indiana Wesley,
There's
they
a-
got the highest. Wow, he's shooting 84% from the field.
Who?
Am I reading that right?
Yeah, 83.9. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize.
Bontrager.
Wow,
Well,
that's
a full
he's 10% higher, man. That's a full 10% higher than second. 83.9. I mean, I know he's just.
Let's see how many.
Kind of,
that's a lot of games played. How many attempts? You might could go to his name.
Yeah, let's see. Now that number is very high, but I think they said you have to play 60% of the game to be on these. I think, or like they do institute a minimum. Let's see. He's playing decent minutes. Yeah.
So he shoots about.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't shoot threes. He's a big man in the middle, but still. I don't think I've seen 80s though. It's been 80s is high.
Yeah, for someone who touches the ball a lot, you know.
But yeah,
and
2 for 2, 7 for
puts
10, 5 for 8, 3 for 3. Yeah, you'll shoot. His games, most of his games he doesn't miss. He doesn't shoot a lot, but he just.
He doesn't, yeah,
well,
he doesn't
you know, you found one of the keys to their success. Why we think they're number 2 in the nation.
Yeah,
it's very hard for me to openly put 2 Indiana teams at the top, you know, just because I'm a Carolina boy, and and there's always you know, this great rivalry between Tobacco Road and Indiana basketball.
Nation,
you know, who's better, and when Dean Smith and
Bobby Knight.
Yeah,
you can't say his name. You can't say his name.
R.I.P.
Bobby Knight.
R.I.P.
Throw the chairs, Bobby Knight. Man.
Senor Bobby.
Did he get thrown out of that game when he threw the chair? Was he? I want to say he still got. Okay.
He got teed up.
They got away with a lot of stuff back then, you know. Like
I don't think he got thrown out, ejected right when that happened. He got teed up, but then he just wouldn't leave it alone.
Not
tossed.
Bobby Knight. No. If you don't know who we're talking about, by the way, go on YouTube, Bobby Knight chair, and watch that video. You will not see that in today's basketball. It's not even remotely.
2 of the greatest coaches to ever coach college basketball is Dean Smith and Bobby Knight, and it took me a long time. You know, you just kind of grow up with that kind of hatred in your heart for Kentucky and Indiana, and really it's almost endearing kind of hatred because they're so good and. Great ballers up there. Well, now Indiana's in the NAIA. They have, they're running it, man. They are running the show. So Indiana basketball, hats off.
Yeah.
To it.
Oh, give them credit.
Yeah.
100%.
All right.
Well.
Anything else?
Well, as long as you can be okay with some Indiana and Kentucky teams in your top 5.
Yeah. I mean, good basketball is good basketball, so I love that, and I love the job they're doing. Hopefully that rising tide will, you know, float all the boats in the NAIA, and people will learn and just progressively get better. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that's it, then we'll get scrappy on Twitter. We may post some clips and stuff from this show, but tell all your friends to follow us on Twitter and YouTube, and as we get closer, it's going to get a lot more fun. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
See you.
See you.
When I am hurt, you pull me close to you. You brought me here, a place where I can find myself in you. I won't back down, freedom is what I choose. No more fear, 'cause I have found my happiness in you.